This will be the biggest test yet for quarterback Dylan Raiola. And Steve, he's been, I called you Steve, by the way, Steven.
Wow.
Sip, whatever you like to be called. He's been nearly perfect. And this is kind of a snapshot of how perfect he's been. He's 24 of 24 on his passes beyond the line of scrimmage for 117 yards. A perfect 24 of 24.
On what passes?
On passes that are behind the line of scrimmage, like the short screens, swings. Then you take it another step on passes that are 10 yards or less. He is, 16 of 17.
Wow.
So on throws that are 10 yards or less, he has only incompleted one pass of about 40.
That's precision.
That's pretty good.
That's precision. Now, the reason you're saying this is his biggest test is there's a couple reasons. First of all, the personnel for Illinois will be strong. They're not as good up front as Illinois is not as good up front as it was last year. It lost a second-round draft pick. But the reason this will really test Dylan, or could really test Dylan, is Aaron Henry is the defensive coordinator. Illinois has been a man coverage team, and that was it. They just played man. Now they don't. Now they mix in zone, and they disguise it incredibly well. All of his reads, according to Marcus Satterfield, will have to occur post-snap because they disguise it so well. Sean, you played football. You understand this. Usually a team, an offense, there's things they can do pre-snap to ascertain whether it's zone or man. Put a guy in motion.
A simple motion, and how the motion is accounted for.
Right. Apparently, Illinois disguises it so well, in part because it's a veteran crew in the secondary, that they don't show what they're doing. So it's post-snap. It's scary because they have 6 interceptions. So they'll play some zone. You usually don't get a lot of interceptions in man anyway. Your interceptions come in zone coverage, generally.
Unless you have safeties back and a ball gets tipped and the safety's able to pick a ball.
Right. So sometimes that'll happen. But so Dylan has to be super careful. He's throwing in to a veteran secondary. They're savvy guys. Again, Illinois already has 6 interceptions. Illinois is +8 in the turnover category. 9 turnovers forced, 1 committed. That is a huge stat going into this game. Turnovers are a huge stat in every game, some more important than others. For instance, Sean, I think Nebraska could have gone -2 in turnovers against UNI and been okay. If you go -2 in this game, playing with fire. You're just really playing with fire.
Because Illinois only has, I believe, 1 turnover on the year. And it's
turnover,
a fumble. And Nebraska has 2, a fumble and a pick. But Luke Altmaier has not thrown a pick.
No, 9. They forced 9 and committed 1.
And Nebraska has forced 5 and committed 2.
So Nebraska's +3, which is good for Nebraska. It's big when I'm talking about turnovers and being -2 perhaps, because it could be the type of game that you and I wanted to beat Nebraska with, which was limiting possessions for Nebraska. Nebraska only ran 48 plays. Bielema is going to come in here and try to get them in position to win in the fourth quarter. Now, will he pound away on the ground like you and I did, like Northern Iowa did? I don't know, but it's interesting because it's similar in that Illinois starts a running back in Caden Fegan, who's 6'3", 250. They also bring in a guy named Josh McCray, who's 6'1", 235. Now, they do have a speed guy in Khalil Valentine, 5'11", 190. But do you see the similarity? You and I, Northern Iowa, attacked Nebraska with those big backs. I wouldn't be surprised if Bielema tries it too.
For Northern Iowa, though, to win this game, they're going to have Illinois, to get Raiola off kilter. Like, they're going to have to disrupt him and frustrate him. And that's not been done by anyone all year.
No, this could be the time, though. This is a growth game. This could be a big growth game for Dylan. Like, it's different. Now the players are going to look different, bigger, stronger than anything he's seen this year. They didn't look like that against UTEP. They did not look like that against Colorado. They did not look like that against UNI. Now here comes the big boy football. Let's see what that looks like.
Yeah, they're going to come at him with lots of blitzes, I would imagine.
Length, blitzes, more speed, more size.
Well, and the running game too for Nebraska, can Dante Dowdell give them a physical running presence? And then
I think he can.
And will they go and will Ramir Johnson and Emmett Johnson, can they provide those matchup issues they provide? Because I do think that's become one of the staples of this offense are those two backs and their ability to create matchup issues in the passing game.
Well, we are kind of confused by Mark Farley's comments after the game when Farley was asked. Farley's to
compliment Raiola,
the Northern Iowa coach. Yeah, Farley was kind of teed up a question to compliment Raiola, and he instead said the running back is what hurt us most, and it was sort of hard to understand which running back are you talking about. I think you're talking about Emmett, because Emmett caught a couple key passes early in that game, and one was a 17-yard gain. I think he was talking about Emmett Johnson.
Again, though, I think that Raiola's ability to get it out in the correct places plays a big factor in those plays.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I know what you're talking about because you talk about it in the press box. Those passes have to be precise. They have to catch the guy on the run, or it's
like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
When you see that ball come out and the timing of the guy catching in stride and going.
Catching in stride is critical. Bill Callahan used to emphasize that.
And Ja'Cory Barney is really close to breaking something.
He is. God, that begs a question, though. This is big boy football now. Those young guys got to be ready. Are they ready for this? Like, is Carter Nelson ready for this? Is Ja'Cory Barney ready for this?
And I don't know what it is about Illinois, but they have always been one of the hardest hitting teams Nebraska plays.
Yeah.
Like, especially when Lovie Smith was
You're
there.
right.
Like,
God, you're right.
There used to just be safe.
Vicious.
That it was violence.
Vicious hits.
And Adrian Martinez would get in Wandell. And I mean, you just think about some of the hits.
I do remember. I remember that game. I remember that game out there in Champaign. It was vicious. They hammered that kid from Minneapolis. What was his name? Their little
JD
receiver.
Spielman.
Yes, JD Spielman. Hammered him a few times, and JD kept getting up. Yes. And then the other thing to know about Illinois, why is this a big test for Dylan? Why is it a big test for Nebraska? Think about Illinois recent past. In Bielema's first year there, they went to Penn State and won in 9 overtimes. That was a good Penn State team. The next year, they went to Wisconsin and won on the road. They've done this. They're kind of it seems like they're pretty good in these situations.
And this is the third time they've played Nebraska on a Friday.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
It's been an interesting series between these two teams and how it's kind of parked itself on Friday nights.
Big test for Dylan, big test for everybody.